All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We got a video for you today. We're going to talk about my backpacking gear, quick lowdown on some of the kits I have in it. This is going to be kind of a long video, but this is going to be, for me at least anyways, the ultimate backpacking setup. I've been backpacking ever since I was a young teenager, even before then. So honestly, I had probably around, going on 20 years of backpacking experience and hiking at this point. This setup is very specific for me, for my region. If you guys haven't seen before, I live in the Rocky Mountains, and so I'm spoiled and I have a lot of access to wilderness areas and a lot of backcountry up in the mountains. So my gear may be a little bit different than yours. I know there's kind of a chasm in the backpacking and hiking community. I really think there's like three camps. You have kind of the granola ultralight backpackers. You have the people that lean a little bit more on the tactical side for backpacking gear. And then I think you just have the people kind of in the middle. I'd say I lean probably between the middle towards the tactical side just because of the gear I use. And a lot of my stuff, surprise, surprise, I'm not independently wealthy. So a lot of my gear has to have multiple uses. So we're going to dive into that. So first off, I use the Eberlestock Gunrunner is the pack I use. I'm going to add up here really quickly, as you guys can see, just so you get a really good look at it. I'm going to attach the photo from Eberlestock's website. So this is the pack up here that I have. As you can see, price fluctuates. You can get this pack around $199. I did one of my first YouTube videos was of a review of the other version of this that I have for strictly for hunting, but since then I've kind of switched over to this pack. Okay, so we're going to dive into it. First, what I love about Eberlestock is the harness system is very comfortable. There is a lot of add-ons with the MOLLE. You can add different pouches and customize it, but the harness system is very breathable. I get definitely some good airflow through here. I'm a tall guy. I'm well over 6 foot, over 200 pounds. So I'm a big dude, and it's nice to have a pack that I can adjust to fit my torso and fit around my shoulders, my pec region with the straps where it's not like choking me out. So it's nice to have that. Let's jump into some of the gear that I have. And we're going to kind of do a little tabletop here. So let's jump into it. All right, guys, so first off, what I carry on the outside of the pack, easily accessible. If you've seen my bug out bag video, very similar. I have a set just like this on my bug out bag. This is just some mechanics, Coyote tactical gloves. As you can see, they're used. They're great for if you need to like move debris, use rope, keep your hands warm, just for whatever reason. It's always good to have gloves. I keep them readily available on the outside of my pack. My, back in the day when I worked with my dad, he had a rule doing construction: never get out of your vehicle without your gloves. And it's, saved fingers and countless injuries over the years. And that mindset has always carried with me, especially when I worked in the fire service. All of our kits, we kept our gloves on danglers on the outside. So it's just kind of a habit that has just always carried over to pretty much everything I do, is keep my gloves. The other thing on the outside is, more and more, the older I get, I don't like carrying belt knives anymore. I carry, unless I'm out for a long, long time, I carry neck knives. Now keep in mind, this pack is not for just a short little day hike. This is for something you hit the trail at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're not getting back till 10 o'clock. So, this pack setup is for a very long day. And with that being said, I like to keep a neck knife. This is a LT Wright Pronghorn. I've had this for a few years. Super great knife, super comfortable, just a quick little neck knife to have something readily available if you need to do some cutting and stuff like that. Scanty grind, you can do some light bushcraft with it. Super great knife. They don't really make these a whole lot anymore, but if you scrounge around, you can find them on eBay. And so just a good little knife just to keep readily available. And I pair that up with just a red paracord lanyard, so it's easily found. Sunglasses, I usually, I'm an old school traditionalist. I usually just carry Ray-Bans with me, polarized lenses. I do have some cheaper, they're called knockaround. If I'm going to do something where I don't want to worry about losing these or breaking them or whatever, I'll bring the cheaper ones than the Ray-Bans, but that's usually what I keep on the outside. And last but not least, I kind of switch back between a Nalgene bottle or Smart Water. I really like Smart Water bottles because they're super light when they're empty. You can reuse them, but I usually buy big bulk ones at Costco. You know, they are distilled. They have electrolytes in them, so they're really good water. I feel like I get really good hydration with just the electrolytes in that. So the other thing I carry, if you'll notice on this is actually a hunting / combat pack. Originally is what this was designed for. It has a scabbard, put a rifle in there. So usually I can use this for my hunting pack. I can put a bow in it. I can put a rifle. This clips out and the scabbard folds out. So it's a smaller version of the Gunslinger, but the Gunrunner is super great. Usually, number one rule, never go in the mountains without some kind of firearm at your side. I usually rotate between a Glock 20 or this is just a Glock 19 that I carry for any kind of threats or something if I get stuck out there with a spare mag. I will say if you're going to have a handgun for hiking, make sure you carry a light and have a light on it. And get you a good Kydex holster so it locks in good, but you know, just keep a good stream light on there because you never know if you get stuck out there or something. It doubles as a backup flashlight, and also, you know, if something happens and you're stranded out there, you know, there are predators at night. You know, we have you know, multiple kinds of bear between, you know, I could run into everything between, you know, a mountain lion to a black bear to a grizzly bear, you know, just tons of reasons to carry firearms in there. If you're going to be in grizzly bear country, I carry Glock 20. If I'm going to be in the lowlands where there's just like black bear or mountain lion, I usually just carry the lighter Glock 19. I use Buffalo Bore plus P ammo in it for predator defense. The other thing I carry, and the great thing about this little scabbard in the back here is you always have a little stuff pocket. This is a one Tigris ground tarp. It's about 5 foot by 3 foot. Just a nylon ground tarp for if you want to sit down and eat. Super light, doesn't weigh anything, very durable. If you get stuck out there after, you know, something happens, you get stranded or somebody gets hurt, you can use this as a floor and a makeshift shelter just to get you off the wet ground. I would suggest taking some, you know, like pine branches or spruce branches and build you a bed in your shelter. Lay this on top of it, and it'll kind of give you an insulated layer off the ground. Super lightweight, doesn't weigh anything to keep in there. And as I said, I always carry a spare mag for whatever handgun I have with me. And in the inside of the pack, we'll dive in here. This is just kind of in no particular order. Now keep in mind, I will reorganize this depending on what I'm doing. Sometimes I may put more, sometimes I may put less. This is just what was in there from the last super long, you know, 13-hour day hike I was on. These are just little fire starting bundles that are just kind of pre-made with some wax and some different stuff. These are phenomenal. They're called, I believe they're called like Ebo. I think they're called like Ebo fire starter kits. You can get them in bulk on Amazon. I've used these for a few years. They are super phenomenal. Again, key theme, super light, doesn't weigh hardly anything. The other thing I keep in there, every kit I have probably, I don't know, maybe $150 in toques, but this is just this is the smallest one they make. This is a Toques titanium cook pot or a cook cup. I have some bigger ones. This is the smallest one they make, but just a little titanium cook pot, something that you can use to heat up food, boil water, have some coffee. If something happens and you get stranded out there and your water filter breaks or whatever, you know, you can obviously use this to boil water in. I don't really carry stainless steel anymore. It's just too heavy when you have titanium. Titanium is pretty non-toxic for people. Fun fact, a lot of the medical stuff they put in you now is titanium. And the other good part about this is, you know, like I said, it's super lightweight. Your bones are actually just a few molecules away from titanium. So it's very non-toxic. I would stay away from aluminum. There is countless studies all over the world on aluminum being toxic, especially when you heat in it and use it a lot for Alzheimer's and stuff like that. And then again, stainless steel is good. It's just too heavy. So just some stuff I keep in here for when nature comes calling. Just some dude wipes, little wad of toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and then just some readily available because Everyone needs some Advil in there when they're old and gimpy. Another thing I keep in here readily available is my med kit. If you guys have seen this, these are the med kits that I make myself. I just kind of put these together on some other videos. I have, used to be a medic, and so I just kind of make, these are about the biggest bang for your buck. I keep a SWAT T tourniquet, a bunch of other stuff, some trauma dressing, little boo-boo kit, some gloves in case I have run across somebody on the trail and I got to treat them. I don't want to get their nasty blood funk from somebody I don't know all over me, and to keep them clean. The other thing I keep in here is, this is an Israeli trauma bandage. You can double it as kind of like a tourniquet. These are basically combat dressing for puncture wounds, bad injuries. You can use these to make a splint and stuff like that. They're originally designed by the Israeli military years ago, but these are just, they're great trauma bandages. So I keep these together. And, as long as someone's not mauled by a bear too bad, I can patch them up with this stuff long enough to get help. I usually keep some form of satellite communication with me, and a GPS and a map in there. I don't have my handheld GPS or my sat phone in here, but I do always have my other map, my phone, which I pay for like All Trails and 1X and all that stuff. This is my Possibles pouch from Hidden Woodsman. This just kind of keeps all my doodads that I like to keep for. This is probably the heaviest part of the pack. This keeps all my accessories and doodads. What I like about this is just easy to grab. You can hang it up on a tree if you need to. I take this when I go on overnight backpacking trips. I just take this out of one pack, put in the other one. It's in here. I don't have to mess with it. I don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. It's just always in here. So basically what I keep in here, this is a Olight rechargeable headlamp that I keep in here. I keep a ferrocerium rod. I keep, let's see here, I keep just a field strop for sharpening knives. These are battery packs. I keep lithium. Never buy Duracell, and never ever buy lead acid batteries. I will warn you on these lithium batteries, if you're in cold temperature at high elevation, they'll drain quicker, but it's just the price to pay. So I keep these with me. These are actually battery pack holders that were designed for pilots, and so they're just really good to keep everything organized. I keep those together. This is just a field touch-up rod, or field touch-up knife sharpening kit I keep in there for if I need to get something up nice and good. I just keep a bunch of wadded up paracord in here, different sizes, different lengths. Just keep that in there readily available. And just keep, I have other food and stuff that I keep, but just some little granola bars in case, I get the munchies and it's not my regular food. And this is stuff if somebody gets sick or something, I can hand that out to them. I keep an Epic wipe. These are like massive beach towel size wet wipes for your whole body. So if you get nasty or something and you need to just clean yourself or whatever, and they don't weigh that much, they're just good to have and fairly inexpensive. I keep a little mini thing. These are called the ducklings. They're like little mini rolls of duct tape. I just keep that in there. And then I keep a battery pack anchor to recharge my lights and stuff like that. And this is just an old vintage compass that I got. Actually, it took me forever to find this. They don't make them anymore, but just a really high quality compass. I got this for around $100 on eBay. Originally brand new, and it's pretty true to the course, but originally when these come out like brand new now, they're like, I think almost like $200. So this is a really, really high-end compass that I just keep in there in case I ever need it. Honestly, I really don't use compasses that much in the field. I have a pretty good sense of direction, and honestly, I really don't need maps that often. Just one of those internal gifts. And also, now we're going to talk into shelter, and I always keep, especially on long day trips, keep stuff for emergency shelter. I love one gear company I really like is Snugpak. And so these two things, this is a massive Snugpak poncho. Snugpak makes stuff for military, British, I think it's British, but they make a lot of stuff for the British military. This is a massive Snugpak poncho that'll go over a backpack. And it's also designed to where you can make a makeshift emergency shelter out of it if you need to keep the rain off. So always keep that on me. Very heavy duty a very thick poncho. Now this is a Snugpak sleeping bag liner. Now it's as light as you can get to have a little extra something to bundle up in. If you use this in conjunction and wore both of these, got in the sleeping bag liner, put the poncho on it, and then had you a shelter with some fire, you could stay in some pretty cold temperatures. You're not going to be the most comfortable in the world, but you would be very. It's better than being in the elements, especially if you got, I'd say if you have time, go out practice making shelters in the woods and stuff. When I was a kid, that's pretty much all I did at my parents' place. I had tons of little shelters built all throughout the woods and did that all growing up and practiced bushcraft skills ever since I was real little. So I can get a shelter up pretty quick, use that in conjunction, and you would be pretty comfortable in a pinch. Also, now this is a Survivor filter. These are like a LifeStraw, but they're on steroids. The one I have will filter out viruses and stuff like that. I will carry a gray all usually, but this is just a good emergency backup water filter that filters out viruses. It's what, in my opinion, LifeStraw should be, but then again, LifeStraw is not very. I'm not a fan of LifeStraw. They seem very gimmicky because they don't filter out viruses and they don't tell you that very plainly, and viruses can be a big deal. But the good thing about this, it's threaded down here. So the reason I carry this will thread onto my Smart Water. So if something happens and I run out of water and I bring, depends on how long I'm going to be gone, I'll bring multiple things of water or whatever. But if I need to in a pinch, this will thread on to my water bottle, and I can you basically would just hold it up like this and just suck the water through the filter, and voila, you got a little filter system that's pretty darn lightweight and inexpensive for a pinch if you need to. The other thing I keep in here is, even if I'm going just for a day and I may bring a little pre-made lunch or something, I will just keep a Mountain House in here just for emergencies. And this is, keep in mind, this is additional to food I would take for the day. So whatever I take food in there, if I bring pre-made food, if I bring a little sandwich or something for hiking for the day, regardless of what happens, I will keep a Mountain House in there just for emergencies. So if I got stuck out somewhere, had to stay overnight, I at least have one good solid warm dinner with a little bit of coffee. And you'd be surprised what you can deal with out in the mountains. Even in an emergency situation, if you can have you a nice big calorie-packed warm meal and a cup of coffee, you can get through one night pretty comfortable. And last but not least, I carry, this is a Hydra Pack. I think this is the 3-liter one. Basically, I'm not dig it out, it's too hard to get back in here, but this is a massive water bladder that this will actually filter on and connect to that. Or if I take my Grayall, I can filter the water through the Grayall, pour it in here, and I have a huge, massive thing of water, especially living out in the western U.S. There's a lot of areas that I may travel to go hiking for the day that's desert or whatever, or even just up in the regular, alpine mountains that I live in. I definitely like to have just a nice, big, massive thing to store water. And I also carry one of these in my bug out bag, but that's a different video. And obviously, I'll usually keep a wallet, and a lot of times I'll keep a secondary knife. This is my Spyderco Shaman. Usually, even though I'm hiking for the day, I'll just carry this too. So then again, I usually have 2 knives. Yeah, guys, so there you go. That's pretty much the setup that I keep. Then obviously different clothing that I'm going to wear. I usually also put in there a North Face down jacket that rolls up about this size just to keep in there. Even in the summer, especially out here in the mountains, it may be 90 degrees during the day, but it can get down pretty chilly at night. We have, 50-degree temperature swings sometimes of the year. So I always keep something like that in there just to have that extra layer. And obviously this is not everything. If I'm going on, depending on the trail or time of the year, I may take some other stuff. If I'm going to go on a shorter trail, I may take some stuff out and switch the weight on here. So it's flexible, but this is pretty much what I take 90% of the time. Now I do have a ultralight backpack setup that I set up for, like, if I wanted to cover a lot of ground, it's like dead of summer and I don't think I may need that much stuff. I have an ultralight setup. Maybe I'll make another video on my ultralight setup and the pack and what I carry. If you're interested in that, leave in the comment section below and I'll show you my ultralight setup. I know a lot of guys get in the comment here and they're like, well, this is the ultimate setup. Well, this is too heavy or that's too light. And you really need two setups. You need a heavy, long haul day hike setup, and then you need your ultralight setup. I switch depending on what I need and time of the year. You may do the same thing or you may not. That's fine. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video on my gear. There's some other stuff. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.